It's movie time!
So I just want to start off by saying, guys, this movie was not my Birds of Prey. And I think that's one of the main reasons that I didn't go and see it. I was a little stubborn. This was not my Birds of Prey. I don't know if I'll be able to show it to you guys, but this was my Birds of Prey. My Birds of Prey was a 2001 television show that was on the WB way back when. And that's Batman and Catwoman's daughter. And then you had Dinah Lance, who was the Black Canary's daughter, and the Oracle, who was Barbara Gordon, who was Batgirl. And they fought crime throughout the city. It only made it 13 episodes, and I absolutely loved it. It's one of my favorite TV shows. And I don't know where you could find it, but if you ever find it, I highly recommend it. But I enjoyed this so much, and they changed the movie so much from the television show. I think the movie is based off of the new comics, but I'm not entirely sure. But I just wanted to say that first. This is my Birds of Prey. Anyway, onward with the review.
Hey everybody, how you doing today?
No, I'm not talking like that through the whole thing. It'd just be a whole disaster again. How's everybody doing today? Welcome back to the movie review. Thanks for tuning in again. Today we're going to be doing a review of Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of one Harley Quinn. This movie was requested or suggested to me by Stephanie. She suggested it to me a couple weeks ago, and then another Troy suggested it to me again this week. Stephanie loaned it to me, and I was able to watch it and review it. And let's get into it. This is an action, adventure, and crime. And there's a lot of all three of those in there. This was a lot to dive into. But not having seen Suicide Squad, I was a little afraid that I was going to miss out on something or not have seen something that I needed to see. But that wasn't the case. So if that's what you fear going into seeing this movie, that's not the case. You can see this movie without having to see Suicide Squad. So go for it. If that was your fear going into it, nothing to fear. Go and watch this movie. Action, adventure, crime. I'd throw a little sci-fi into that. Why the heck not? There's always going to be a little sci-fi in a superhero or a superhero movie. Why not? Let's get into the cast list. So we had Margot Robbie, and she played Harley Quinn. Obviously, everybody knows Margot Robbie. The first thing I really saw her in that I can think of was The Legend of Tarzan with Alexander Skarsgård, and that was a really good movie. She did a good job in that movie, and I think I've really liked her ever since. I wanted to go see I, Tonya because she was in that, and that's another thing that I talked about last week in A Quiet Place, where it's just that one actor that you kind of like pulling you in to see another movie that you wouldn't generally go and see. We had Rosie Perez as Renee Montoya, who's the cop. I looked her up, and there wasn't really anything I could relate to that I'd seen her in. She didn't really have any big roles in anything else. Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Helena Bertinelli. And she was the Huntress. She was in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, which I personally haven't seen, but have been told many times vigorously by my best friend Sam that I need to see. And she was an Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, and she played Mary Todd Lincoln in that. And I didn't relate her to that. This whole time watching this movie, I was looking at her face knowing I'd seen her somewhere. But I didn't relate her to that until I looked her up, and I saw that she was in that. Journey Smollett played Dinah Lance, who was the Black Canary. And I couldn't really find... I had never seen her in anything else before either. Ella J. Basco played Cassandra Cain, who was the kid. I'd never seen her in anything else before either. And then Ewan McGregor played Roman Sionis, and he, of course, was our Obi-Wan in the Star Wars prequels. He was in Big Fish. He is just a good-looking dude. I feel like they made up a pretty good cast. Margot Robbie really carried it, and Ewan McGregor played that bad guy. I had never seen him play such a bad guy, and maybe it's just that I haven't seen him in a lot of things, and the things that I have seen him in, he played just such uplifting characters. But man, He can play bad when he wants to play bad. So the synopsis of the movie. Oh boy. Harley Quinn is done with the Joker, and she decides to announce it to Gotham City in an explosive manner. Unfortunately, this means she's back on the radar of all the enemies she made under Mr. J's protection. It's open season on Harley Quinn. She gets lucky for a little while until a particular big bad, Roman Sionis, succeeds in catching her. In order to save her pale hide, Harley makes a deal to track down a young pickpocket who has unknowingly come into possession of a rare diamond. Harley isn't the only one looking for the girl, however, and when she takes a liking to the adolescent troublemaker, she makes a pact with 3 other women in order to save the kid and kick some butt. And kick some butt they do. Oh boy. Oh boy. The butt kicking in this movie. Let's talk about the butt kicking in this movie. I loved the fight scenes in this movie. How much can I say I loved the fight scenes in this movie? I enjoyed them. My eyes were locked onto those fight scenes. The way they filmed the fight scenes, one round fight scene, the cameras were in their face, they were vigilant, they were interactive, they were intricate, they were intimate. Oh boy, just keep on rolling. They were fun to watch, they were exciting, loved them, loved them. Not only that, it had a great soundtrack to go with it. We're talking an all-female soundtrack from what I could find. I could be wrong about that, okay? But from what I could find and what I heard with my very own Sarah ears, an all-female soundtrack with songs like awesome renditions of It's a Man's World, sung by Journey Smollett, who was the actress who played the Black Canary. She actually did that with her very own Journey Smollett voice. And an awesome rendition of Hit Me With Your Best Shot, which I've put on multiple playlists across my Spotify, and I have not been able to get out of my head. Awesome soundtrack. Not only accompanying the fight scenes, but accompanying the entirety of the movie. I loved it. So far, out of the 3 movies that I've reviewed, this has been my favorite soundtrack so far. And the fight scenes, nothing says girl power like a woman offering another woman a scrunchie in the middle of a fight. I laughed very hard during a few of the fight scenes. It was a great time for me. That being said, we've covered the good, and I had more questions, and I don't want to say negatives or bads, but I had more not so great things to say about this movie than goods. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the heck out of this movie. This movie, I would watch it again, and I would recommend it to people who can go into it with an open mind. Absolutely. Absolutely. But I was left with a ton of questions. I understand the point to the narration. And once the timelines came together, I understood why the timelines were the way they were. But until everything kind of got put together, I was confused out of my mind. I felt like I was just kind of watching something on shuffle. Like, did I put my DVD player on shuffle and it's just kind of skipping around scenes? If she hadn't been narrating, I would have thought something was wrong with the movie. Like I had put it on fast forward and pressed play at random times or something. And that kind of bothered me. So this movie, I understand that they were trying to make this a very girl power movie, a very woman empowering movie. But I think they made a lot of mistakes when they were trying to do that. They did a good job with some of it, making the female heroines or what have you, whatever Harley was supposed to be very cool, but very empowering. But the way that they were trying to do that was making all of the men in the movie very dumb. So one thing I noticed, Batman was gone. Where was Batman? Okay, this is not a spoiler, I promise you. This happens toward the beginning of the movie, and it's gonna happen. You're gonna see it. Harley blows up a chemical plant in the middle of Gotham City, okay? There were probably like a ton of people in there working. I'm guessing this was a main source of jobs for many, many people, innocent people in Gotham City. Where the heck is Batman? This had to put Harley on Batman's radar, but it's Batman, so he wasn't there. He's just gone for some reason, and Harley's out doing her own thing. There were no female thugs out after Harley. The cop was for a little while, but then she decided to drop it for some reason, and that just kind of went away. Let's talk about female cop. She was the only female cop on the police force. So let's talk about the male cops on the police force. What were they? They should have all just been wearing dunce caps and sitting around eating donuts, because they were completely useless. This is not a good way to make a girl power movie, okay? And that's the problem that I had with that. I love me a good girl power movie. I feel like I was one of the few people among my friends who actually really enjoyed Captain Marvel. I walked out of the Captain Marvel movie theater saying, man, there hasn't been a movie with that much girl power in it since the Spice Girls movie came out. Ask my mom. I walked out of the Captain Marvel movie theater saying that. But man, that's not a good way to make it. Even Captain Marvel didn't do that. Captain Marvel had competent male roles in that movie. We needed that from you, Birds of Prey, and we didn't get that. So here are my questions. In Harley, we had narration, fourth wall breaks, and a wannabe merc with a mouth. So is DC trying to create a Deadpool character in Harley Quinn? I don't read the comic books, so she may already be this for DC. I don't know. But it's a rated R movie, and she's kind of got the qualities minus the superpowers. I described this movie to my mom as a mix between Captain Marvel and Deadpool, minus the superpowers. So, correct me if I'm wrong. Let me know in the comments if you have any answers for me on these questions. Like I said, where was Batman? Someone told me Batman was too busy. Too busy. I mean, if he's too busy, well, Harley should have been easy for him to capture and put in jail. Does Gotham PD, by now, with all these bad guys, you'd think Gotham PD would have like a riot or SWAT gear, something. There was a fight scene in an evidence locker, and the only cop who goes in is our hero Montoya, the female cop, single female cop. Where's our riot gear? Where's our men to come save us? Where's any other female cops? Where are y'all at? Come on, guys, you got guns. Shoot a baseball bat. Shoot her. You're telling me that even after years of crime going down, someone with a modified grenade launcher who's shooting bean bags out of it with confetti comes in and you're just like, oh no, just tell her what she wants to know. If the police in Gotham City are that useless, no wonder Batman's got such a superiority complex. It explains so much now. Come on, guys. Come on. And let's talk about Montoya for a second, okay? She's part of the group, right? The female superhero group. She's got a gun. It gets taken away, and she seems kind of useless. You're telling me that a seasoned police officer has no martial arts or any kind of hand-to-hand combat training? Come on, guys. Come on. I want to believe. But come on, guys. Help me out here. Let's get into some fun stuff here. Our wonderful Rosie Perez, who played Renee Montoya, she actually practices Kung Fu. So the fact that I feel like she was the most useless character on screen, and the fact that she probably could have opened up a can of whoop ass on all of them, is kind of funny to me. Speaking of her character, this is the first time that she has been represented live action. She was in the cartoons, but she's never been seen on screen live action. So that's pretty cool for her. Roman Sionis' car is a 1956 Rolls-Royce Silver Wraith. So that is a beautiful, beautiful piece of metal that I would love to drive someone around in, or be driven around in, or even just touch with my finger, or clean, or maybe lick a little bit. You didn't hear that. There's a cat behind me, and yep, just ignore that. There's a thing. So while I was looking up some stuff about this movie, I got a little entrenched in Margot Robbie. She's actually a really cool person, and I just thought that maybe I would share a little bit about her while I was here. So, are you a robber? That's what her little fan base is called. Margot Robbie is Australian, and that's very interesting to me. She was born and raised in Australia. She has a brother who is a stuntman, and then another brother who is an actor. So she's got a lot of respect for stunt people. I found that out. On the set of Suicide Squad, she learned how to hold her breath for up to 5 minutes. Like, holy crap, bro. That's crazy. She did a lot. She learned a lot on the set of Suicide Squad. And I learned that while I was looking up stuff about her. And that's absolutely crazy. She started tattooing on the set of Suicide Squad as well. She tattooed everyone on the set of Suicide Squad. I think cast-wise. I don't know. I don't think she did the crew and stuff. But she tattooed everyone on the set of Suicide Squad except for Will Smith and Jared Leto. She never had to audition for the role of Harley Quinn, as she was just offered the role, which is pretty cool. That's kind of the dream, man. She loves to surf. She actually worked at a surf shop before she started acting. I don't know if that was in Australia or if that was in California. I've never thought about people surfing in Australia. I don't know why they wouldn't. I mean, it's literally surrounded by coast. She's allergic to chicken egg whites. So the sandwich that you see her skating around with in Birds of Prey was made from duck egg. So that's really interesting. I guess chicken egg whites actually give her migraines. Let's kick it to the parents' guide. Is this movie okay to watch with kids in the room? I say no. This movie is rated R, and for a good reason. There's a lot of language in this movie. There's a lot of violence. There's the cutting off of faces. There's a teensy bit of nudity, and I said ick a few times. You know, I'm the ick. Ugh, ick. Not to mention the bad guy is just, he's a creep. He's not a nice dude. Lots of violence, a bit of gore. As always, you're the parent, but I would personally say pause when the kid comes in the room. I wouldn't watch this around kids. I found a lot to laugh at with this movie. I went into it with no expectations and no context. I think it got a bad rap with Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad didn't get very good ratings, and people kind of people didn't like it very much. So if you go into it with Suicide Squad on the brain, I think you're gonna have a bad time. But if you go into this movie with an open mind and you're ready to laugh, I think you'd enjoy it. I think the way that it's a lot like Captain Marvel, where the whole girl power thing kind of got pushed on people, that kind of doomed it a little bit. But in my opinion, Margot Robbie is a better actress than Brie Larson, and that should help it a little bit. If you go into it and you're ready to laugh and you have no expectations, I think you'll have a good day. And if Suicide Squad is still stinging your mind, you're probably not going to enjoy it. Hey, thanks you guys. I really appreciate you tuning in. I appreciate you guys who have been coming back the last couple of weeks and supporting me and being on my Facebook. I have a Facebook page for this now. You can find me at if you do the @ the tag, it's reviewed by McFizzle. It's also just R3 is the name of the page on Facebook. I'll link it down below on the YouTube video. Hey, thanks a lot, guys. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already. Leave me a comment. Share it with your friends. If you have any explanations, if you had the same questions, I'd love to hear what you guys thought of the movie too. Get some discussions going. Join in the conversations. I'd love to just hear anything. Just drop me some comments. Leave me some likes. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it, guys. I hope you have a great day. Cowabunga.